want to thank Southside First for having these events. If this is your first time, I encourage you to go to some of their other events. They have a lot of good free, keyword free, resources for small businesses like myself. You don't necessarily have to be in the Southside, but you know, if you want to be in the Southside team, we welcome you with open arms. So first of all, my name is Angel Contero. For those who don't know me, I started my own business back in 2019, right before the pandemic. I was in the nursing field for almost 10 years. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, so I left and didn't look back. I didn't know where I was going to start, but I knew I liked to draw. I knew I liked to craft. I grew up with people telling me I should be a kindergarten teacher, but I don't really like kids that much, so that didn't work out. So I turned to my art. When I first started, I started doing repurposed products. So I would go to places like yard sales. And I would pick up tiles just like these. This was my main seller back in the day. This is where I started. I also started doing repurposed products. Again, these are repurposed. Just like this, and I will bring this out in a little bit, but this is what I call vendor sign. I started doing repurposed kitchen cabinets. I started doing my art on there. I started putting hooks on them and telling people they can hang their hats, purses, coats, etc. When the pandemic hit exactly a year later, my small business, Que Bonita Crafts, was actually on the rise. We were doing a lot of TV shows, a lot of morning shows, but when COVID hit, bam, stopped. Everything was done. There was no markets to do, so I had to pivot my business into my digital art, which you can see here as well. That was a lot easier to get off my hands. I can sell stuff from the couch in my underwear and a t-shirt. So that was great for me. Now that, I don't want to say COVID's over, but now that things are a little bit more relaxed, we've started getting back into the market scene. So I am here today to talk to you guys about what type of market you should pick, how to pick a market, how to avoid scams, and things of that nature. So first of all, we're going to start with the first thing. The very basic thing when you have a business is you have to pick a name. You can pick ABC Company. That's cool if you want to do that. I would suggest doing something related to your product. Although I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really go that route. So again, my business name is Que Bonita Crafts. Crafts is the one that really tells you what I do, but it shows you that I do a little bit of everything. Again, I would suggest picking a name that has something to do with your business, at least a little bit, to tell people right off the bat what your product is. Okay, you don't have to necessarily follow my lead, but at least have a name. Now, people always ask, what about a logo? A logo is not really necessary if you're just getting started. If you want a logo, by all means, you can use programs like Canva. You can hire a digital artist like myself to do that as well. But if you're just getting started, I wouldn't even worry about that right now. Your name is your biggest thing. How to register that name. We have had Lucy Adame Clark, she's the Bexar County clerk, come in and teach people how to do that as well. So if you want to go on the Southside First website or YouTube, you can definitely check out that video to get more information. But it's a good idea to go to the county clerk's office to get a DBA, doing business as. It's an assumed name, basically. You register your business with the county clerk, so that way you can start doing business. And there's a lot of also legal things for that. Somebody can't come and steal your name. Okay, so that's very, very important step in starting a small business. The next one I have here is how will you collect money? Okay, I've seen a lot of people at markets, first timers, and they only take cash. Well, I'm gonna let you know right now, not everybody carries cash. I think I have about $5 in my wallet right now. And that's probably about it. Everybody pretty much does card. They do apps like Cash App. There's Zelle. There's also Facebook Pay. Don't get overwhelmed, but there's also Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Zelle. What else am I missing? Venmo. Venmo's a big one. And then, yeah, you can obviously do cash. Square. So this is what your card reader looks like. They don't all look like this. You can hire or you can get it from a different company. I chose Square just because that's what my website's through, and we'll get to that. But this is what they look like. They're very small. They're very compact. They have a little charging thing and a place right here to put your card in. This is how you are going to take payments. You can actually just put in the Google search card reader, and a bunch of websites will pop up. I do recommend Square because that's just what I use, but I know there are other vendors that sell these as well. So if you have any questions about which app should I download, it's just your preference. I've had vendors say, well, I only take Cash App and Venmo. I don't take all those other ones. That's okay too. It's up to your preference. If you want to only take cash, that's okay too. but I'm going to let you know a lot of people will pass by on buying your products. So just want to make that known. The next thing is gather the basics. So I put up my setup here. I didn't necessarily try to sell anything to you guys. I'm not here to do that. I just wanted to show you a little bit of my setup. Now this took years to perfect, and it changes all the time. Every time I put this up, this looks different. Okay, because I'm always trying different things. I'm trying new things on what's going to work for me, and it also depends on the inventory that I have at the time. If I sold out of a particular product, let's say I sold all these canvases would be gone, and I would obviously do a totally different setup to make it look like I have product. But with this entails the table. Most of the time you do a market, they are not going to provide the tables. If you find a market space that it will lend you the tables, by all means use those so you don't have to carry these back and forth and be sweaty like me, like I was earlier. Please bring your own table. That is also something you want to ask the market coordinator, and again, we're going to get into that as well. Your tablecloth. I'm going to be honest with you, you don't actually need a tablecloth. Should you get one? Yes. Should it be a plastic one? If you want. A lot of the times people will shop on what is more appealing to the eye, I'm sorry. And if they see that you have a nice tablecloth versus somebody who just has their stuff scattered on the table, more than likely they're going to come to you, okay, versus that person with no tablecloth or any type of color or anything on their table. Next, canopy it's optional, okay? If you're having an outdoor event, I suggest it. If you're having an indoor event, it's probably not necessary, okay? But that one is optional. But you might want to invest in a canopy. You can buy them online. You can have one all decked out with your name on it. Do I suggest it? Yeah, if you have the money. If you have the money, go ahead, go for it. You know, if you have the money, buy me one too. I've been saving up for one. But you don't necessarily need the canopy, okay? Again, if you're having outdoor events, and we're going to go a little bit more into detail about that as well. A chair. Always bring a chair. I think every market I have, there's somebody without a chair. I feel horrible for them, but I mean, it is what it is. Bring a chair, okay? Whether it be a little stool or, you know, I have a hammock swing from my friend, Miss Tina, right over here. So I got a hammock swing. So if you see me at a market, I am relaxed, I'm cool, and I'm having a great time. But get a chair that's comfortable for you. That's the most important part, I believe. Lights. Lights are optional. I have one right here that I wanted to show you guys. A lot of people ask me, where do you get these lights from? And the reason I have these, I bought it from Walmart back when they were about $11, $12. Now they're about maybe $15, $18. I know they have gone up. I'm sure Harbor Freight, shout out to them. Yeah, you can also get them there as well. Now, these are rechargeable lights, okay? The reason you want these is you want people to see your stuff, okay? And I'm going to be honest with you, it does not have to be dark. Most of the time when I turn these on, when I'm at an event, people are like flies to a light. They come straight to it. They're able to see your product a whole lot better. So I suggest these. You don't know whether your event is going to have access to electricity, which again is something we should ask, and we'll get into that. But these are good to have because even if you do have access to electricity, maybe your plug's too far away. Maybe you didn't bring your extension cord. These are always gonna work for you. Always gonna work, and they do blink. I don't suggest that either. But Walmart and Harbor Freight, right over there. Now there are all different types. If you don't like this one, if it don't work for you, by all means go on Amazon or please shop local and get it here. But if you must, get it on Amazon. Let's see here. What else? A sign. And you don't necessarily need to have a sign here, but have something with your business name, okay? This is one of the first vendor signs I ever made. That's why it looks like this. It's been about 3 years. This one's been through the ringer. But have something with your name on it. Have some sort of marketing material, whether it be your card or even right here. This is a tablecloth. It's a custom tablecloth. This is from a local vendor. If you're interested, I can give you her information. They are very cheap. She sells these for about $25, $30, and she can put your custom logo on it. Again, I always endorse local and my vendor friends as well, because that's where we got to put our money into. So again, if you have any questions about where to get these, let me know. Happy Mama Designs, that's who she is. So let's see here. What else do we got? All right, so have marketing material, like I mentioned. Have your vendor sign with your business name, and also have your social media handles. Is it important for you to have social media? It depends on who you ask. It really does. I believe, yes, that it's important for you to have some type of social media, whether it be Facebook only, Instagram, TikTok, like Miss Gabriela said, YouTube, whatever you got to do. But make sure that these people know where to follow you. Make sure they have easy access. You don't have to go up to them and say, hey, make sure to follow me, Que Bonita Crafts. Make sure to go to my website, quebonitacrafts.com. It's right up here, so they already know, okay? Let's see here. Business cards. You can buy them from any print shop. Again, I do suggest and I do promote local. So I have a few local places. If you guys, your local print shop. I've used Next Day Custom Tees. I'm a big supporter of them. They do a lot of custom work. They do a lot of marketing materials, and they're amazing. They're amazing. They're very awesome. They give back to the community as well. But if you're just looking to, it's 11:30 at night like me, and you're bored and you're doing business stuff that you should have done earlier during that day, you might find yourself on websites like Zazzle, Sticker Mule, Vistaprint. You can also get those as well. But if you're like me, crafter extraordinaire, you will do it yourself. You can go to Walmart. You can go to wherever they sell the business cards, and you can easy click, drag, print. You're ready to go. Okay. You do not need to spend a lot of money on your business cards, just as long as you have something to give out. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else do we got? All right, how to pick a market. This is the one I wanted to spend a lot more time on, okay? Right now, social media is the biggest way that you can pick a market, okay? It's very important that when you do start vending, you find yourself a little vendor group. Now, that might take a little while. You might have to do one or two before, you meet the people you trust. But I've been lucky enough in my 3 years to have met some very nice people, some very awesome people. Our vendor community is very opening. They open arms. They welcome everybody. There is a seat at the table for everybody for the most part. Okay, you do have your bad apples sometimes, but you just stay clear of them and keep your head down doing what you're doing. Okay, you will find your people. And they will send you things. They send you all the time. There's my group of vendors is right over here, some of them. And what we do is, if we see something on Facebook or Instagram, what we do is we send it to that person. Hey, have you done this market? Hey, what do you think about these people? Do they know what they're doing? Okay, we do talk. So if there's any vendor coordinators, vendors talk. They do talk about you. They talk about how you run things. They talk about if you know what you're doing. And they talk about even if one person had an experience with you, hey, don't do that one. Okay, so it's very important to make a good impression with these vendors, because they will tell you or tell other people, do not do that one. Okay, so that's why I wanted some of the vendor coordinators to come on out here. As a vendor coordinator myself, I feel like that's very important to understand what those people need from you. Okay, let's see here. Avoiding scams. Again, social media. I have a vendor. I'm a part of a vendor group called San Antonio Vendors. If you want to add them right now on Facebook, they're one of the biggest vendor groups. They have every event coordinators. They have people like myself that are just saying, hey, this is going on for other vendors. It's a good resource. It tells people, hey, this is safe, this is not. They also put on there, hey, do not do this one. This one is not associated with the King Williams Association or what have you, okay? They watch out for scams. We also report. Vendors will say, hey, this one doesn't have bathrooms. Hey, these people canceled the event last minute, didn't return my money. We talk. So I just want y'all to remember that. We all talk about it, okay? You got to think, do you want to do a day or a night market? Because that's really, in this Texas heat, that really has a lot to do with whether I am going to do an event or not. There's sometimes I get to the event. I have a residency at the Dakota, and there's times where I'm just like, no, I can't do it. Okay. This is why we switched to night markets. Okay. We took that consideration, or took all those complaints into consideration, move our market back. But that's what you want from vendors. From market coordinators. Again, do you want to do a day market? Do you want to do a night market? If you want to do a night market, sometimes you got to still worry about the heat, but most of the time you got to worry if you have access to electricity for your lights. Again, that's where this comes in. That you don't have to worry about it at all. You put those in your bag. You don't have to worry about any lines tripping, anybody else tripping, anything getting unplugged. Again, that is my best advice, is to invest in wireless rechargeable lights. Okay, if you do get the lights that plug in, Make sure to bring an extra extension cord because, again, you don't know if you're going to have access to a plug or how long it's going to be. So you might even want to bring 2 just in case, okay? I'm a very big just in case person. I always have a lot of stuff just in case I need it, so I overpack, okay? So if you ever see me at a market and you need something, come to me. I'm probably the one. Let's see here. Be mindful of what outdoor space that you will be in and prepare. You need to ask your market coordinator, are we going to be on pavement? Are we going to be on grass? Am I going to be on sand? Am I going to be in the middle of a parking lot with no trees? What does this event space look like? I had to learn that the hard way. I've had a couple of vendors pass out next to me because we were on concrete. We were on cement. If you're outside, I'm telling you, that heat rises. It comes out from underneath you. So not only are you getting it here, you're getting it from under here too, okay? You're going to be very dehydrated. So that, again, ties into my next one. Bring water. Again, I see a lot of vendors never bring a water bottle. I have this one vendor, I'm not going to mention any names, but she never brings a water bottle. Ever, ever, ever. She always feels like crap at the end of the event, okay? Luckily, I'm a preparer, so she always hands me water bottle. I always hand her water bottles, excuse me. So make sure to be prepared for what you're going to be on. If you're going to be on sand, it depends on your product. For instance, if I'm going to be near water, most of my stuff is safe. You know, I do a lot of paper products with my digital prints. I have them in these clear sheets because I'm just preparing for everything. I'm a preparer. I invested in these because now I don't have to worry about what type of stuff if I'm on grass, if I'm near sand, if I'm near water, anything like that. Most of my stuff is packaged for that reason. You don't have to do as I do, but again, be prepared for whatever environment you are going to be in. Speaking of environment, the weather, okay? There's a lot of, the radar apps are our best friends as vendors, okay? Texas weather's crazy. It's mostly hot, but at the drop of a hat, we'll see thunder, rain. That happened to us the other day. Be prepared for that as well. Again, if wind, yes, thank you so much. So with the wind, you want to make sure you have weights, okay? Is that something... Yeah, a lot of people don't bring those, and we have a lot of near accidents, or we get a lot of product that gets damaged from things flying away or their canopy not being properly tied down, okay? So make sure to get those weights, invest in them. People think they don't need them, but they do. I'm a big bungee cord person. All my vendor friends know I have about 1 million bungees everywhere, in my garage, in the trunk of my car, by your feet. In my car, they're everywhere, okay? If you don't have weights, please tie your stuff down with bungee cords. You can actually tie to the top. If you have a fence, anything behind you, just make sure to tie it down because that thing will go flying, and not only will you might have risk to your stuff, but you can actually injure other people. I've seen it happen again and again, okay? So please do weights. Rain. I've seen vendors who are not prepared for the rain. My biggest suggestion for the rain, especially because I take a long time to pack all this stuff up. Sometimes the rain catches me and I don't have that time. So what I have learned from other vendors, I went to Walmart. You don't have to shop there, but I went to Walmart and I got a big, long tablecloth. It's a clear vinyl tablecloth. You can buy them at the Dollar Tree too. I probably spent too much money at Walmart. I could have bought it at the Dollar Tree. Buy one of those, because what happens? I just throw that over there and I go and have a seat and I'm dry. My stuff's dry. Okay, I can walk away from it and I'll come back to it. Sometimes if I have enough time, I'll just stuff it under the table. The table acts as an umbrella as well. Okay, but those vinyl sheets, I always suggest those. And again, they're just tablecloths. You can use a shower curtain, whatever you like, but I just throw it right over my stuff. Okay, that is a big lifesaver because you can put it over and walk away. Okay, as soon as it stops raining, you go back and you put your stuff away. But that's one of my biggest tips that I've picked up from other vendors. What should you ask your coordinator? Ask about bathrooms. Are there bathrooms? There was one market that I didn't do. Again, I heard from another vendor. They said don't do that market because they didn't have access to bathrooms. They were in the middle of a grass field. I don't know who owned that field, but somebody decided to do a market there. And if anybody wanted to use the bathroom, they had to go to the corner store, which is a walk, and you had to leave your stuff. Vendors don't like to leave their stuff. They usually will set up next to somebody they know and say, hey, watch my stuff. Okay, that's why it's very important to make friends in this world because they can definitely help you out. Definitely ask how many vendors are going to be there. You don't want to do a market and there's only 2 vendors there, you and somebody else. Okay, you especially don't want to do it if that somebody else is selling the same exact thing that you're doing. Okay, if you sell earrings and the other person sells earrings, there is a chance that y'all can be doing it different ways. That is true. But you definitely have to think about it. Ask who they are, so that way you can do your research. And if you're not comfortable, if their product is super similar to yours, if you feel like taking the chance and going out, see if you make money, by all means, go ahead. If you don't, I don't do it. I suggest just booking another market. Okay, because if that vendor coordinator doesn't know that first basic rule of, one of each, that's probably not someone you want to be doing a market, okay, with. Let's see here. Cooling and warming areas. A lot of these markets, again, are in the heat mostly, but sometimes you'll find yourself in a cold situation. Make sure to ask your market coordinator, especially during the summer and the winter, is there any place for me to cool off? I understand it's outside, but is there an indoor portion? Do your bathrooms have AC? Sometimes I've been where the situation is where the only place to cool off is inside the bathroom. Okay. It's kind of sketchy. I didn't say that I went back, but again, it's your preference. Okay. I have to have some place to cool off. I also bring frozen water bottles. I also bring ice packs. Again, I'm a preparer. And I also bring a fan. Okay. Let's see here. What else? Again, with the warming areas, it's the same thing. Do they have a fire? Do they have outdoor heaters? Is there an indoor part where I can, warm my bones? Do they serve coffee? Do they serve hot cocoa? Anything like that? That's something you wanna research. Let's see. Number of people expected. Some of these events that you're gonna do, they are the first annual, second annual, third annual. You wanna ask them, how many people were you expecting? You would hate to show up to a market and this is all you have, and it's a big market. You don't want to sit there, and a lot of the times the vendors say, even if you sell out, you can't leave. You don't want to sell out and have nothing there and you're just sitting there burning up or freezing, okay? Make sure you're prepared for the number of people that are going to be. And you know what? If you don't sell out, that's okay. But as long as you have enough product, you don't want to run out, okay? You definitely don't want to run out. Let's see here. Promotions and the price. So, for instance, we had this event today at Tandem, and they were awesome enough to give us some meal options here today. Ask them, is that something that we can promote? Okay, are they having specials for the event? Is there going to be food there? I've been to events where there's no food. There's no food. I don't even know how that happens, but I've been to events and it does happen. So bring a couple of snacks. You don't have to bring, 3-course meal, but bring something. Bring some peanuts, bring a granola bar, something just to hold you over. If you want to bring a sandwich and some chips, by all means, I've seen it done. I've done it myself. Do that as well. Depends on how long you're going to be out there. Okay. And again, watch out for scams. That's my biggest thing. Watch out for scams. And again, my biggest suggestion on that is to join that Facebook group, San Antonio Vendors. Okay, that is how I know that there are scams or not scams. And I hardly ever do a market where I don't know that one of my vendor friends has done it already, or a friend of a friend, at least so I can ask somebody. That is my advice for avoiding scams. I haven't been scammed yet, but it happens. It happens. It happens to a lot of good people as well. I know we did talk about some cybersecurity stuff in another Southside First, but one thing I didn't have on here that I wanted to mention is to make sure to change your passwords, update them, because I've had a lot of great vendor friends who have lost thousands and thousands of followers because their account got hacked. Okay, you don't want that to happen to you, so I suggest, again, if you want to look at the video on YouTube or Southside First, you can definitely look at that for cybersecurity, but change those passwords, y'all. Change them. It's very important. Let's see here. The biggest thing. Can I get a drum roll? All right. Community over competition. All right. Yes, we are. We all have a smart business, and we are each other's competition. Yes, in a sense, we are. However, in our vendor community, I find that we make a lot more sales. And we're a lot more happy when there's enough room at the table for everybody. Okay. If you find yourself in a position with an event coordinator or a space that doesn't allow that, get out of there. Get out of there. That's not the place you need to be. You need to find yourself some awesome vendor friends to support you. If you don't have any, message me. Message me. I'll get you in the group and we'll get it going. Other than that, I don't know if any of my vendor friends, if they have any tips that I missed. If you do, let me know. But at this time, we are going to be taking any questions if y'all have any.
Is there any way to tell the difference ahead of time between a well-promoted event versus a not well-promoted event?
Yes. Look at their last events. A lot of the times, like SA Local Market or Southtown Market Co., I think that's what their name is. A lot of the times they have multiple events. Look at their past events. When they were there, did they go live? Were they promoting weeks before, or was it just the day before? That's one thing you want to look. Most of the time, they will have social media pages, these market pages. If they don't, that's a big red flag. That's a big red flag. Why am I going to put money into that? I didn't speak on money, but it depends on your event too, how much you're going to pay. I've heard people say, oh, well, this event, I paid $85. And I'm like, $85? Okay. But then I think, okay, well, let me look at the market coordinators, and I look in there, no marketing whatsoever. Or maybe it's in the middle of nowhere. Never again. Never again. You won't even get my attention. You also get an unfollow from me. Okay. I don't need to be up in your business if you're not doing it the right way or how, would benefit me and my business. Okay. Or even my friends and theirs. That's the biggest thing I can say is look at their social media page, see what they've promoted in the past. When you look at that, it's an online collection of things that they've done, or they should have that. If they don't have anything like that, then that's not the place for you. So what's the going rate for being at a market? It depends. Again, my personal opinion, I hardly ever pay over $40 for an event. I'm going to be honest with you, that has changed with the pandemic, of course. But right now, my cap right now is at $40. The reason being, or the reason that I'll pick something more than that is because they do excellent marketing. For instance, SA Local Market is a very good market. They market their stuff all the time. If you go to their page, they will have all sorts of stuff. They're always going live. They're always reposting their people. They have tons of followers. And that is true for a lot of the market coordinators as well. So it just depends on the marketing. It depends on the marketing. There are certain events, especially during the holidays, that, I will pay the $100, but it's because I know that event is going to be great. If you want to meet with me a little after, we can talk about some of those markets as well. But usually if they're in a great location, downtown is a great location. There's a lot of, especially Hemisphere, there's a lot of tourists down there. So I will pay the $100 to vend at a special event at Hemisphere. If it's just for the weekend, maybe I would say my cap would be $50, and that's just my preference. It's up to your preference, and it also depends on how much you charge for your stuff. If you're an artist who sells your canvases for maybe $150 and you sell well, maybe you're financially okay with paying $300 for a whole weekend event, a special event happening downtown during the holidays. It just depends on what you sell. If you're somebody who sells stickers for $1, that's probably not a good idea for you. It also depends on what your product is, and you got to know your audience. Am I going to go there? Have I had luck there before? If I've never been there, do I know people who've done well there before selling similar products? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, some of my vendor friends do sell similar products, and that's okay with me. We do things differently, and that's okay. But it depends on what we have and how much we're willing to pay, and if we know that or if we have faith that our products will sell at that event, then if you're comfortable with going higher, then by all means go ahead. But it's just your personal preference. But I would keep that less than $100. Also, I got to plug this in. Me and my partner over here, Miss Tina, Crafts with Tina, we actually have a market called the Dakota Artisan Market at the Dakota, which is on Hackberry here on the east side, right next to the Alamo Dome. We do that one for new vendors. Or we specialize in having new vendors there because we want to teach you the ropes. Miss Tina brings extra lights and extra cables. I bring extra this, extra that, and we get it done. We encourage a lot of new vendors to come because we can teach you the ropes. And we also have a $15 vendor fee. We never, ever, ever charge more than $15, nor do we plan to. Most of that money goes back to each vendor because we then go and we spend that money at each vending booth. A lot of times we will end up giving that stuff away so that way other people know your product. So basically that money goes back to you. You're paying us, and then we're paying it right back to you. Okay. And we don't have any plans on changing that soon. We also have free markets every once in a while, and we do that 2 to 3 times a month at the Dakota. And again, it's called the Dakota Artisan Market. If you want to look that up, we're only on Instagram. Sorry. But if you do not have Instagram, if you want to get our numbers before we leave here, we're happy to do that as well.
I just wanted to add that as a recent adoptee of the Dakota Artisan Market, they have taught me so much that another thing that you need to do as a vendor is connect with the other vendors at the market. Make sure you're following them on Instagram, ask questions, and you need to engage with the customers. So it's, I've gone to markets where people are sitting behind their table and they're looking at their phone and they're not talking to anybody, and you're not going to make sales that way. I've made countless sales because I engage people as they walk by. So make sure you're connecting with the customers and that you're connecting with the other vendors.
Yes. And we actually have to remind each other that, because sometimes we do events on Fridays and we've had a long day of work and we don't feel like talking to anybody. So we kind of remind ourselves like, hey, come on, man, lighten up, have a beer. Like I said, we have this vendor community, and I promise you will find yours. If you want to join ours, by all means, but you will find your people, I promise.
Nadia, did you have a question?
Not a question, but just like Jen, I wanted to add something on there. Just the importance of, I think everyone with markets coming up, I feel like a lot of people are getting more organized, and so you have a lot of application forms. And so one of my suggestions would be to have good product photography that's presentable, yes, because that does distinguish you in, I also host my own market, so I look at that critically. And so having just good product photography that represents your brand well is very helpful. It also helps you in just your website, social media in general, but also maybe just preparing. There's certain questions in for applicants that we get asked regularly, such as give us a description of the products that you sell. So maybe writing that down and having it in your notes is like a copy and paste, would save you so much time. Yeah. You stay consistent. You kind of have like your elevator pitch, right? So it also just really helps with getting prepared for markets and really ensuring that you're consistent, and you probably get chosen because you know what you're doing. So that's it.
So Nadia is the one who gave me the courage to step up my picture game on my website. So thank you for that. But it's very, very, I thought I was taking okay pictures, and then I realized I wasn't. So if you need any help with that, I use Canva. I'm a big Canva fan. I use Canva for a lot of stuff. I also use Procreate. Now, Canva is an app. If you don't know, it is an app. It is free. You can upgrade to the paid stuff. But for instance, my stuff, all I do is I do my digital art. If I go in Canva and click mock-ups, I can literally put this into a professional picture. And I'll show you guys some examples. There's some on my website for those who aren't here. QueBonitaCrafts.com, plug. But yes, those pictures, I did not get my work done in a professional setting, but if you look in there, you would think that they were. Canva is a lifesaver, so that's an app that I suggest. There are other ones as well. I know if you have your website on Square, they have a photo helper on there as well. But Canva is my biggest suggestion right now because it has worked wonders for me. Any other questions?
So I would also say when it comes to pricing your items, don't be afraid to charge your worth. I see so many vendors with these really awesome handmade items that are $5. And I'm sorry, if you quit your job to work for yourself, you quit your job because they were paying you $10 an hour. Your time is worth your time.
Preach, girl, preach.
Nobody can tell you that you're overpricing, but I can tell you I've seen vendors that are underpricing their work. If it takes you 10 hours, Angel, to do a painting, it is not $50. I'm sorry. That pays you $5 an hour. That doesn't include your time in research. That doesn't include your failures. That doesn't include your 3 a.m. crying session because you had a mental breakdown because you couldn't figure it out. It doesn't include your supplies. It doesn't include your gas to get there. It doesn't include the time it takes you to set up. It doesn't include the food that you bought when you were at the market, the drink that you bought. Now, all of these things you can use as expenses, right? When we're paying our taxes, we can use those things as expenses. But charge your worth. Yes. Do not be afraid that you're just starting. Oh, but I'm just starting. Or, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years. Guess what? That customer that has been with you for 30 years will support you. They will support you if you increase your price. Your new customer that's just meeting you will say, hey, I see your value. You are totally worth this price. I can't tell you how many times when I was starting out that I had people come up to me and say, hey, charge more. Hey, charge more. Hey, charge more. And you're scared. You're like,
That was me.
Oh, I mean, we have this conversation all the time in our vendor group. That's why I can say it with full confidence. Charge your price. Your worth is your worth. And I can tell you through the quality of the friendships that I've made, to my returning customers, to my customers who refer me all the time. I have customers that come up to me out of the blue that are a friend of a friend of a friend who will drop like $300 on stuff, and I'm like, where did you even come from? But they came from a friend who recognized my worth, who that person then made my whole market for like the week. I'm like, yeah, I'm walking on high for like a month, but it's because I charge my worth. It's
Yes.
because you should charge your worth.
Yes,
Your
if,
price
if y'all don't know,
is
every
your
time we
price.
make a sale, we do a little happy dance. You know,
100%.
it might be different every time, but we do that happy dance, even if it's inside.